Hey guys, I'm Alastair from Trail and Kale, and this is my best on running shoes roundup. So if you're familiar with Trail and Kale and you've been following us for a while, then you'll know I've been reviewing on running shoes for over 10 years. And I've reviewed every on running shoe out there. And that includes pretty much every iteration of each model. In this best on cloud running shoes roundup, I'm going to be listing my 3 top on running shoes for running on the roads. If you are interested in knowing the best trail running shoes from the On Running brand, then follow that link up there. That shares my favorite trail running shoes from the On brand. This list will go in reverse order, starting with the 3rd best on cloud running shoe. And it's important to know that I have ranked these on running shoes based on how they perform in my extensive reviews. Once again, if you do need to check out the reviews of individual on running shoes, definitely head over to trailandkale.com and also check out our YouTube channel and search for the running shoe you're interested in there. And one more important thing to point out is that it is May 2024, so this is where the rankings stand as of now. When rankings do shift up dramatically, I always update my best on running shoes roundup on trailandkale.com, so definitely check that out if you're watching this video in the future. But alternatively, check the channel just in case there is an updated video version of this. In at number 3 then is the On Cloudeclipse. Now this is a max cushion daily trainer for bagging those easy miles and just getting in a run where your legs are just going to feel like they haven't really done much during that run afterwards. How does it fit? How does it feel? Well, it fits true to size in length and it has got quite a wide fit. So if you do have wide feet, you're really going to love the Cloudeclipse. It weighs 9.8 ounces for a size US men's 9, has a 6mm drop, and it is surprisingly stable for such a high stack, high cushion running shoe. And that's in part due to the X-shape speed board. And that kind of stiffens the flex in the midsole. So you'll see me trying to kind of bend and flex this in the multi-direction, lateral direction should I say, and there's really not a huge amount of flex, so that's really good for stability, but there's a pretty good amount of flex in this direction. So that flex is coming from the speed board, or the stiffness should I say, which makes it actually quite responsive as well as cushion. So it really is one of those, I guess you could call it a super trainer of sorts that kind of does it all and allows you to do lots of different types of runs for training. And finally, it costs $180. And that's really why I love the On Cloudeclipse, because it is a running shoe that kind of does everything, and it costs $180 as of making this video. So it is fairly reasonable for a running shoe that can do so much. It's super comfortable, very easy to bag miles, very cushioned underfoot, and it's got a lot of support and stability. So that's the On Cloudeclipse. In at number 2 then is the On Cloudsurfer. Fun fact, the On Cloudsurfer was the first on running shoe for me to review, God, it must have been about 10 years ago now, but what a fantastic shoe. And it was a shoe that kind of really got me onto the On Running brand. I noticed they were doing something different back then with their CloudTech pods, and it was just so much fun to run in. There was so much spring and bounce that it was just a really fun and efficient and also fast experience running on them. So the On Cloudsurfer 7 is the latest version of the Cloudsurfer model. It's very different now. Now features a CloudTech phase midsole instead of the old style pods. Super lightweight Helion foam. And it's super comfortable. This is what I really love about this running shoe. It costs $160, so pretty affordable for a very comfortable daily trainer like this. They weigh 8.2 ounces for a size US men's 9, that's my pair. And there's a 10mm drop from heel to toe. Fit and feel, well, I'd say they're true to size. Not wide or not narrow, just nice and average kind of fit to them. Now, similar to the On Cloudeclipse, this is a very cushioned shoe, which also features the CloudTech phase midsole. And what that does is phase the compression of the shoe as you strike towards the rear of the shoe and take off with the toe. This design was all computer models to try and get the most responsive, fun and bouncy spring out of a midsole. It does work really well, it feels super comfortable. This shoe is lighter than the On Cloudeclipse, which I really like. It also feels more cushioned and hugging in the upper. So you'll see there's tons of cushioning around the collar and the heel counter here. The lacing system's brilliant. The tongue is nice and cushioned, which I kind of prefer that than on the Cloudeclipse, which is quite a short tongue and quite thin. This just generally feels a bit more comfortable around your foot. And the upper is also very breathable, very similar to the Cloudeclipse. Now the Cloudsurfer doesn't have a speed board in it, so it's not quite as fast as the Cloudeclipse, but it does feel very comfortable and easy to get those daily miles, which is why it's going to be my top pick as a daily trainer, because it's just super comfortable, very enjoyable just to slip on, grab and go for a run. It really is the daily trainer workhorse that you can't go wrong with, to be honest. Absolutely love the Cloudsurfer. If you're enjoying this best on running shoes roundup, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more running shoe reviews and roundups just like this one. Can you guess what's at number 1? It's a Cloudmonster, but it's not Cloudmonster 2 and it's not the Cloudmonster 1. It's the Cloudmonster Hyper. Now if you've been following the channel or our website, you'll know the On Cloudmonster model has been a bit of a roller coaster. The first Cloudmonster that came out was insanely good, and that was sitting at the number 1 spot for quite some time in my best on running shoes roundup. Now why was that so good? Well, it was just incredibly fun to run on. It was super springy, a very fast shoe, breathable, everything you want for running tempo runs, speed play. You could even race in them. They were that good of a shoe. But they did have a little downside, and that is that they weren't the most stable running shoe, because there wasn't a plate or anything to kind of stop that lateral cushioning as you were running or walking in them. Then came along the On Cloudmonster 2. And by the way, you can read reviews of all these shoes to get my full opinions on them. But the Cloudmonster 2 just fell flat for me. It just wasn't fun anymore. It felt like a more average running shoe that didn't really stand out on its own. There was nothing that special about it. There were some good things about it though. It was more stable than the On Cloudmonster 1, but it wasn't quite as fun or cushioned, and it had a bit of a wider fit. So it had pros and cons for sure. I'm sure it will open up to people with wider feet who want a more stable running shoe, but I feel like On maybe alienated the people who loved the On Cloudmonster 1 and how that running shoe felt. Anyway, back to the Cloudmonster Hyper. This running shoe kind of feels like a mix between the two, but it's been elevated. It really is a super trainer. Now, if you're not familiar what a super trainer is, well, it's a shoe that's perfect for training because of its versatility. A super trainer allows you to get most of your training runs in one shoe. And how does it do that? Well, it does it by being a cushioned, responsive running shoe. You need a responsive shoe to be able to get your speed sessions in, like interval training and also tempo runs, and that's where this shoe does really well. But then you want the cushioning to be able to get a nice recovery run in, or even a long run, and not feel like your feet are taking a hammering from an overly responsive running shoe. So the Cloudmonster Hyper does fit true to size. There is medium to wide in the upper, so if you do have slightly wider than average feet, they all fit you really nicely because the lacing system does cater to a foot with more volume, and it cinches down really nicely to get a nice hugging fit. They weigh 9.1 ounces for a size US men's 9, and they have that lovely sweet spot of a 6mm drop from heel to toe, which happens to be very popular for the On Running brand. I guess the only downside is it is more expensive at $220. But I guess this does replace some of your training shoes. So actually, the fact that it's pretty durable as well does mean that it is a good value investment, because you can switch out a few shoes with it. And it's great to know that you can do most of your training runs, I'd say 80% of your training runs in this running shoe. And then come race day, if you are looking to PR in a marathon, you might want to go with the On Cloud Boom Echo 3. Check out my review up here if you're not familiar with that running shoe. But these two running shoes really are designed to complement each other. So you would do most of your training runs in the Cloudmonster Hyper and then switch out to the On Cloud Boom Echo 3 come race day. Of course, you can just race in this one as well if you want to. Well, I really hope this best On Cloud running shoes roundup helped give you a better idea of the running shoe that you might want to get from the On running brand. Now, I understand there's a lot of different On Cloud running shoes out there and it is super confusing. So if you do have absolutely any questions about these top 3 On Cloud running shoes that I'm recommending today, just drop your comments down below. I could talk for hours and hours about On running shoes, so definitely drop your comments down below. And that also goes for any other On running shoe. I've reviewed them all, so I'm happy to give my insights as to maybe which On running shoe would be best for you based on your circumstances. So feel free to let me know what your circumstances are. Or if you like the look of another On running shoe and you just want to know if it's good for you, just ask the question and I'll let you know. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.